Check one, check one. I sound alive. Is he here? Yay! Another day, another $13.5 million. Thank you, Alan Dugan. Hey everybody, it's your old buddy Mike Meyers here on the Monday, Wednesday at 2 o'clock Central Daylight Time live stream Ask Mike Anything. The goal of this live stream is to provide those of us who are isolated by the COVID virus the opportunity to ask questions and continue our studies on A+, Net+, Security+, IT fundamentals, and other CompTIA topics, as well as technical topics and what people are doing and building these days. We're expanding this all the time, so better and better. I had a great weekend. I had a blast. Just took it easy and had a good time. It was great. Enjoyed it very, very much. I needed it. Exciting stuff. We're cranking along on Security Plus, so that's going to be, been having a little, kind of going a little slow, but I feel like we're really starting to pick up some tempo now. So that's pretty exciting. What else we got going on? We've got, today we're going to be doing hexadecimal. I don't remember who asked for a hexadecimal, but I'm going to, we're going to quick run through on hex today. It was interesting because I remember I should write down who asked these questions. Don't even have envelopes or pens today to write. With Scott Jernigan, I'm going to be completely dependent on you. We will not be doing PowerShell today, but we will be doing it Wednesday. I'm going to break PowerShell up into one main piece, like a kind of a core PowerShell, where we basically just get it up and running, some basic configuration, and run a script or two. Just make sure that we can run scripts. The idea of writing our own scripts is going to be a bigger topic, and I'm going to need people to say, Mike, I want to learn that, because that will take a lot of effort, which I'm glad to do, but it's just something we need to, I want to make sure I've got an audience, and you know, I'll take an audience of 2 as long as they're motivated, but we'll have to find out on that. So we'll see what people want to say. Oh, shaky. Oh, be shaky. All the djembes. Yeah, did anybody notice? I got a, it's always the wrong way. Got myself a new djembe. I'm kind of excited about this. Looking forward to getting some friends over and doing some drumming. So that ought to be a hoot. We've got some friends of ours who do medieval reenactment things, and there's an event the weekend of November 7th. And so I'm thinking about going to that, blowing the dust off of all my costumes and everything, and you know, what the heck. Could be fun. So we'll see what happens. What else do we have going here? I think those are the main things we need to be worried about. Okay, well anyway, so remember the goal of this AMA is to ask Mike anything. What you do here is you ask me questions and I answer them. So we will run until 4 o'clock Central Daylight Time, or until the questions run out, whichever happens first. So in order to ask me questions, number one, you can just simply type them into the chat and show them to me there. Now, if by some chance I miss you or something like that, don't get upset. Whoops, here we go. Just contact me. Send me an email at michaelm@totalsem.com. If you're not comfortable posting it into a chat, or maybe you feel it's a more detailed question that needs a little bit more thought, go ahead and just email it to me. If you're a gamer, I am Senor Pepe. I'm trying to get some gaming in these days. I've got so many games. I need somebody to send me a message and say, hey man, let's play X, and you'd probably talk me into it. Oops. Elbow, did you get my, yes, I got your email, buddy, sorry. Anyway, so this is my contact information, and DesWeds, I'm DesWeds at just about anything, so if you ever need to get a hold of me. I haven't even, Elbow, don't get mad at me, I haven't even looked at the chat, and it looks like our head of sales, Kathy Yale, is with us here on the Total Seminars channel. So we're going to do hex, but I'm going to hang on a little bit. I'm probably going to wait till at least 2:30 or so, if possible, and just so that we can make sure that. I really am sorry. If you were the person who was on last week who asked for hex, please tell me you're on, and then that way I can get it started. I just don't want to do it without you if possible. All right, let's see what's happening here. We're going to read some of the chat. What's going on in chat? Tolwood is here. Mr. Ruby is here. Andrew Hutz. Well, fellas, I got... Oh! Sorry, Andrew. Hey, man, listen. You know, that's 100 to 200 resumes get sent out, 5 to 6 interviews, 1 job. So it is okay. I'm sorry about that. I know it smelled good, but I am surprised because I remember you saying you had a really good short list interview there. So sorry about that, man. Actually tempted to apply for something? Heck yeah, Andrew. Go get a part-time job while you're interviewing. Nothing wrong with that. Reading. Ooh, Brendan S. also. But what's? I am very sorry to hear that, Brendan. It's just tough. So Elbow is here. CRSPB is here. Axe. I had no sound. I forgot my heads were plugged in. What's up, everyone? Okay, we're here. Mr. Ruby passed Security Plus with flying colors last Thursday. Big round of applause to you, Mr. Ruby. Well done, sir. Yeah, I'm excited about my djembe. You ought to hear it. It's so funny. It's over here to me. Yeah, okay, now it points the right way. It sounds amazing. It's just like, you know, ding. Great sounding drum. Problem is, I'm used to playing doumbeks, which is you take a drum like that and you play it under your arm. So to have a stand-up drum, I'll figure it out. It's half the fun. Elbow, for those who have won past giveaways, does Kathy Yale respond right away, or did I do something wrong? Well, you did something wrong, clearly. Kathy's on. It looks like maybe you guys already got this figured out. This is from a few minutes ago. So, Elbow, if you got a problem, Elbow, if you ever have a problem, you know, just email me directly, dude. And you know, Kathy's usually pretty good, but she's a busy person, so you know, do keep in mind that that is an option for you. So I'm going to leave that up for a second. All right, that looks good. All right, back to me. All right, so what else we have going on here? Eric Crenshaw is here. Very good. Whoop. Chewbacca Gil. Count me in for your class on PowerShell. All right. So you guys really, we can do it. I'm going to warn you, I am not a great coder. I can make PowerShell scripts do the things I want them to do, usually by stealing other people's PowerShell scripts. So, but we can do it. Sure. Easy peasy. Yeah, there we go. Elbow and Kathy Yale are already talking. There we go. Good. Bruno Fiera. What's some good ways to learn for Security Plus while having a work that's not related to it? Just study whenever, or are there any other tips? Well, Bruno, there's a couple of tips I will tell you, and this is just as I often say here on these live streams, certification studies should be done in the evenings and the weekends because you're working, because you should be working. And the one thing I'll tell you is that you do have to establish discipline, and that can be tricky. You need to set times aside, and these are the times upon which I will be studying. And all your friends and your family all know that these are your study times, and you are not to be disturbed. People are pretty good about that. A lot of people do the, after dinner, 7 to 10 o'clock kind of a thing. I don't recommend studying all the way through every weekend because you'll just burn out and get bored. I try to take my Sundays off whenever possible, unless Scott Jernigan is, hitting me with a cattle prod. But like Saturdays are always a good day to get your studying done. Remember, the big thing is that you want to figure out how many hours it's going to take. So I don't know if you're using my Security Plus materials, but we help you calculate that at the beginning of the book, how many hours it is to study. And then based on what knowledge you have, it could be more or less hours. I don't want to say any numbers because Bruno, I don't know you. But Security Plus can be pretty challenging. It's not that it's very deep any place, but it's very broad. It's extremely broad. And like, for example, if you take my Security Plus materials, I just assume you have Network Plus. Security Plus doesn't quiz you much on networking. It just quizzes you on security stuff that just assumes you know the networking. See where I'm coming from? So, if you were, Bruno, if you were sitting right next to me, the first thing I'd be asking you is, I'd talk to you for 30 minutes and I would quiz you just to get an idea of where you were at technically. If you had Network Plus certification or the equivalent skills, you could probably study for Security Plus in about 120 hours. I'm going to reserve the right to change that number in the future because I think about this with A Plus and Net Plus all the time, but I don't think about it nearly as much with Security Plus. In my opinion, when people get to a Security Plus point, we're kind of moving out of and if you're a high schooler, sorry, but a lot of times high schoolers or very young people lack good study skills, and they lack that, what's the word I'm looking for? Determination, inspiration, whatever it might be, the stick-to-itiveness to start hitting it really, really hard. But by the time you get to Security Plus, the bigger percentage of my students are going to be adults, and I just assume good adult discipline and things like that. But anyway, the big thing is set a regimen where you're going to be studying and stick to it like glue, okay? Like glue. Especially with COVID, it is so easy to, I call it banker's hours. Like right now, I'm working out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:45 because I like to be at work at 9 o'clock. And so I'm actually coming in late, so I work a little bit later. But get those hours set. The other thing that you need to be doing is choose your tools. Bruno, as I always say, there's 3 tools that I think everybody needs, not to pass just Security Plus, but any IT certification. You're going to need a book, you're going to need videos, and you're going to need practice questions. There's other stuff you might want to throw. Some people do flashcards, things like that. Those are fine, but to me, those 3 big things are what you need. And from there, you need to set up a regimen. So I've got a 3-hour study window. What am I going to be doing? You don't just sit down and say, oh, I'm going to study. You're like, okay, I'm on chapter 6. All right, here we go. I'm a reader. I like to read. So I'm going to read chapter 6. Let's say you're using my stuff, which is broken up by modules. So in chapter 6, I have like 5 modules, sub-chapters. You read one of these. Maybe you start doing some practice questions at the end of that. Maybe you watch a video. If you're using my videos tie in with my book and my practice questions, so they all kind of work together. But even if you weren't using my stuff, you could still be, from topicality by looking at the objectives from CompTIA, you can get yourself organized that way. But always make yourself a goal for the day. What am I going to be doing tonight? What am I going to be pulling off on Saturday? And make sure you do it. And if you do it and you have time left over, make sure you have a next thing ready to go. If it's the next chapter, maybe you want to, if you watch Dave Rush at all, and you've been buying Raspberry Pis and you want to practice setting up a DNS server, which is a good thing to do both for Network Plus and Security Plus. Maybe that might be your lab time. There is no one way, and I can't tell you, Bruno, exactly how to do your own studying. I can give you the tools, I can give you some time frames, and I can give you some ideas like the ones I just gave you, but I can't give you an exact step-by-step. Set a regimen, stick to it, and you'll do fine. Scott Jernigan's wants me to play Crusader Kings 3. Ugh. Sorry, Scott, I do not know why you like that game. I just don't do turn-based anything. what's the big Civ? Scott Jernigan's a huge fan of the Civ series, and I've bought them all. I've got Civ 3, 4, 5, and 6. Is there a 7 out yet, Scott? But I don't do turn-based. I'm a real timer. Chewbacca Goal, have you suffered from a short attention span? What? If so, how do you overcome it? Or what would you suggest? Well, usually, and we get a lot of folks who do suffer from short attention span. One of the bigger things I would do more than anything else is, like earlier when I was talking with Bruno about setting your goal for the day, if you know you've got a short attention span, then set very short goals. I've seen people in their study that they will have to literally make a goal of setting the goals. And that's okay. It's smaller pieces, always smaller pieces. And the other thing you got to remember is that, especially, I've often seen when people have short attention spans on something, it's not that you have a short attention span, it's just that you're bored. And usually if you're that type of person, you might be what I call a kinesthetic. You might be the type of person who needs to do this kind of stuff. And if you're that type of person, I know with my training materials, we put lots of, I put a ton of graphics in the books and all the videos, we're doing stuff on screen. And you might want to be concentrating on what's Mike actually doing? What's he looking for? And doing it yourself. People think that for CompTIA exams you need all this special equipment. You don't. Like for Security Plus, a couple of well set up virtual machines and a halfway decent internet connection is going to set you up just fine. And you can do a lot of fun play. You can do, like for example, Kali Linux, which is now a part of Security Plus. You can set it up in a VM. You can set it up on a Raspberry Pi for $30. And so you can get a hold of a lot of equipment, and you don't have to spend much money at all. You got older machines laying around. The only thing you want to do, and that's why I like to do virtual machines for a lot of the network and Security Plus stuff, is you don't want to take down the network, right? Which is shockingly easy to do sometimes. And well, it's making me think of something, and that is Scott Jernigan. Maybe we ought to do a how to set up VMs for Network Plus and Security Plus. It's all free. What do you guys think of that? See what the guys say about that. OB Shaky, how many certs do you have? Why do people always ask me that question? I find it fascinating. I have a bunch. I do not have any organized list of them, OB Shaky, and I have hundreds of certs that are expired. So I think I'm about to answer your second question. How many do you care about renewing? 0. I guess I always, because I'm a trainer for CompTIA A+, Net+, Security Plus, I'm always taking those because that's part and parcel of my job. But I know CompTIA, and I don't want to just pick on CompTIA. All certifying bodies want you to re-up. And what I always tell everybody is I would rather see you in a 3-year period. Let's say you take A+ and Net+, and you're working. You should be getting certifications for where you want to go and where you want to be. Now, I know CompTIA wants you to re-up them and all that stuff. If you were an instructor in that, if you were working in like for A+, if you were working in a shop where they require A+, I could see people renewing there. But no, I would like to see you move past it. I'm not big on renewing. Sorry, CompTIA. I shouldn't pick on CompTIA, Microsoft, Cisco, they're all the same. I have an A+ from 2007, which is life. Yeah, OB Shaky, that was a huge mistake that CompTIA made a long time ago. CompTIA was literally the only certification on earth that I'm aware of that did this certification for life thing. And they got slammed by the DOD 8570 directive. ISO 27000 directive, all these standardizing bodies got pretty crabby at CompTIA for doing that. So I know everybody thinks CompTIA wants us to re-up to make money. They probably do. But they were motivated from outside sources to do the re-upping thing. Yeah, the problem there you have, OB Shaky, is that A plus is from 2007. You know, my question to you is, are you working, right? Are you looking to move on? Do you want to stay as a standalone tech? What do you want to be when you grow up? I mean, I don't mean that as an insult. It's a line I say to everybody. You should be concentrating on where you want to be and what you want to do. Here, OB Shaky, send me an email, man. We can talk about this a little bit. But in my opinion, that A plus from 2007, you should have moved past that, or you're deep into that world already, and then you'd want to renew. Pomodoro app? What's a Pomodoro app? You wacky kids coming up with all these things. You called it an app, so. Oh, Pomodoro productivity timer. I've never used any of these things because they just usually come up with, I've tried to use these things, or even I've tried to use them for like exercise, and I basically end up throwing smartphones very, very far and breaking them. But I am aware of those, and many people speak very highly of productivity timers and things like, get back on it, whatever it might be. Eric Cranshaw tried to cram a long question into a small chat size. Eric, did I miss it? Scott, did I miss Eric's? I'll let Scott try to dig it up. Eric, if you have a question I don't see it, just send it again, man. Looking for questions. Eric Crenshaw, am I studying even though I say I'll study in the morning? It doesn't happen. All right, well, I'm studying even though I say I'll study in the morning and it doesn't happen. Well, then stop doing that. There's a certain point where outside forces that, like wives and sons, can definitely be in effect. So it sounds, Eric, like you got a good plan there. You got the noon to 3 p.m. I think that's great. Oh, people are starting to pop in. Okay, we got a few people here today. Hexadecimal is a witch's favorite numbering system. Tolowit, you are on a roll today. Andre is here. Okay, we can start talking about stuff now. Daniel Carrillo. How's it going, man? Chris Cunningham. I'm in a cybersecurity boot camp, so that keeps me on track, and just got all your courses. Are you Udemy? Just got all your courses on Udemy, I think is what you meant. Hey, I love boot camps. I just find them expensive. That's my biggest single issue with a boot camp. Well, okay, there's two issues. Number one, it would mean I don't think it's acceptable for you to just do what we used to call the paper certification. You should really have the skills. That's why I spend a lot of time, like with my training material, I often go outside the scope of that certification because of Mike's 4 things that make a good technical training. Number 1 is it going to make you a good tech? Number 2 is, well, it passes cert. Good techs will always pass the certs with a good set of practice questions. So that's my only other problem with boot camps. Now, boot camps come and go. I mean, we had them around 25 years ago for Novell, and they got poo-pooed. And then we had them again about 15 years ago for Microsoft MCSEs. We have them hot and cold for Cisco. Not CCIE, that's just too complicated, but for, you know, ICND 1 and 2 for Cisco. CN. Scarlet Red, my computer won't load. What does load mean? Just spins and won't respond to keyboard or mouse or anything. I can't fix it, get it by window repair screen. Okay, well, Scarlett, that's a whole bunch of questions. So you don't want to say the word load. I don't know what that word means. You mean it won't boot up to the operating system? It just spins and won't respond. You get any beep codes? Do you get anything showing up on the screen at all? You're going to have to give us some more details, Scarlet Red. You are also welcome to, if you want to, Scarlet, it's completely up to you. We've got a lot of good text online right now in the chat. And if you want to, I'll bet you're probably already doing it already. But you can just let the gang chew on it a little bit as well as me. Scarlett, go ahead and answer this question. When you boot up the computer, does the screen ever show anything ever? Let's start with that. And then question number 2, when you boot the computer up, even if nothing shows up on the screen, do you hear an individual beep or anything like that? Because one of the first things I'm going to tell you is make sure you didn't turn the brightness down on your screen. Don't laugh. I've seen it happen, Scarlett, more than once. Royal Man, I'm taking the 22-1001 today at 4 p.m. Great. Well, good luck to you, man. Come back and let us know how you did. So Choco Taco, you work hard in short breaks. As long as you're working hard and getting your goals done, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, Scott, I'm assuming that Scarlett's rebooted it a few times. I'm worried that she's got a bootloader issue. So, of course, Scarlett, you made yourself a recovery disk, right? Right? You made yourself a recovery disk, a little thumb drive. It's a setting in there. I don't remember where to go in Windows 10. I can find it in a heartbeat. Brand new used computer for Scarlet Red. Just got it today. You'll figure it out. Have some fun. Scarlett, at the very least you could do is you don't have a boot disk, a Windows. It could be a Windows installation thumb. It could be optical media. But shoot, honestly, from a diagnostic standpoint, I would even get like a Linux, just to see if you could get Linux to boot up off the thumb drive. You know, can you get to your CMOS setup, your system setup? I'd be asking you a lot of questions right now, Charlotte. Scarlett, not Charlotte. Frankly, Scarlett. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-doo. Nothing but a small spinning wheel? A small spinning wheel. So now you're telling me that Windows is trying to boot up? Debbie Strouch is here. Hey, Debbie. Falak is here. Hey, Falak. Falak, I'm hoping I pronounced your name right, dude. You got something. The Xerxix 78 just failed. Oh, dude, Xerxix, I'm sorry to hear that. You barely missed. Look, buddy, Xerxix, number one, I'm sorry you didn't pass. It stinks. I personally fail 1/3 of all the certification tests I take. I know it's expensive. I know it's a little bit it's a time waster, but you need to go right back and take it, especially with a score like that. If I were you, literally the only thing I would do would be to pound practice questions. In fact, I would also try to find, let's just say you're using my practice questions, you probably want to find somebody else's practice questions and and try them out. And because it's clearly, if you got a 680 out of 700, you got the knowledge, you're fine. You missed by literally one question. So you just got to get right back on the wheel. Dude, please, please, please. It's disappointing, but that's all it is disappointing. This is not an SAT. It's not a A levels or whatever they do in the EU. You just retake it. Just retake it and do it quickly. You're well studied up. You just need a little more practice. That's all. Robert Ryan, is the CompTIA Network Plus a bit of a money racket? Okay, lots of bad words I don't like hearing here. Number one, almost passed it. Okay, that means you failed it. Again, means you failed it more than one way. They have a unique way of wording their questions. So Robert, couple of things. I'd like to know whose study materials you're using. They do word things weird. I'm not even going to try to argue with that. The big danger we run into, the number one reason that people, or arguably number two reason, that people fail at exams is that they know too much. And I worry that perhaps, and again, I don't know you, so this is another where I'd probably want to talk with you and say, what's going on there. But is it a bit of a money racket? Okay, so Robert, what I'm hearing here is that you're mad because you failed, and that's a good reason to be mad. I'm completely with you all the way. I think personally that the CompTIA Network Plus is one of the best certifications out there. The reason I love the certification, it's not because it's going to get you a job. It's not. But it provides a core understanding of networking that you can't get through Cisco, you can't get through Microsoft, you can't get through anybody else. Everybody else's introduction to networking is really biased, and CompTIA's isn't. I know every time I say, oh, nobody wants a Network Plus, somebody pulls up a listing on Indeed or something and shows me a bunch of jobs. But here, Robert Ryan, send me an email, please. I want to hear your story and what's been going on. I don't want to boast, but it's very rare that I hear people who are using my study materials who fail twice. And if that's your case, I want to help. Here, Robert, I think I did that too fast. So michaelm@totalsem.com. Just send me an email. I want to hear your story. And I also want to help. So, yeah, we can do this. Scarlet Red, it finished, then prompted me to restart the computer. Now it's stuck in this mode. All right, so sounds to me, Scarlet, that you are not successfully booting Windows. Since this is a used computer, God only knows what's on there or what people have done. My first temptation, Scarlett, I know you're not going to like this, but you probably ought to go online and buy yourself your own copy of Windows 10, and just do a wipe on this thing. You boot to your own copy of Windows 10, wipe the stuff, and don't tell me things like, oh, I bought the computer because he has Adobe Creative Suite on it, because that's illegal. I would quickly guess that's a problem, because it sounds like your Windows is trying to load, but you're running into problems. Scott Jernigan, I think, talked about the left shift key, which is the safe mode now. That could probably be one. Did you guys already dive into that? But, yeah, man, I got to tell you, when Windows 10 is a pain in the rear end. Number one, if you buy like an online version or something like that, you don't have your CD key. Like, well, Mike, I don't have a CD. It came on a thumb disk, or I got a download. It's still there. They have a different name for it now, but that key is key to if you ever have problems. And there's a wonderful little program out there, a free utility called CD Key. You can run on any Windows system, including any Windows 10, and it'll pull your key up for you. And that needs to be documented. That really, really needs to be documented. I walk up to somebody's machine, they don't have their actual Windows CD key, and if they don't have their local administrator password, it just adds a layer of trouble that doesn't need to be there. So with a used system like that, Lord only knows what's trying to happen there. Even if, let's just say your Windows 10 on there is legit, which it probably is, you can still you can download Scott, what is the exact right name for the Windows? It's the recovery disk. You can download one. It's really just the Windows installation disk. In fact, if you've got a buddy with a Windows installation disk or thumb drive, you can borrow theirs and just hand it back to them. You're not going to mess with it. And I would just do Scott, I really would just do a clean boot. Falak Khan, I have a problem. Desktop does not connect to storage drive on first boot, but it will do on the second boot. That's interesting. So I'm not sure what a storage drive is. So I'm assuming you have, it sounds like you got two drives. You got a boot disk and a storage disk. Is that what we're talking about here? And you have to reboot it to get to it. My first one is a big panic that you're booting your system up and there's something wrong with the drive. I'm assuming it's it's an HDD and not an SSD. If that being the case, you could have a power issue on the drive. It's not spinning up on time. You can get stiction. I know nobody likes to talk about it anymore, but it's still very much out there, where the heads need a little more warm-up time before they can actually read and go through their own power on self-test. Those would be the first couple of things I'd be looking at. The other issue is, are you absolutely positive you're booting off your C drive? Because that can also show a problem there. Michael Armstrong. So I have taken the test 3 times. Each and every time I'm taking your course from Total Seminars, and I take the practice still. Oh. So Michael Armstrong, please don't give me a heart attack and say things. So I don't know what the test is. Are you talking about CompTIA A+, Network Plus, Security Plus? What are you talking about? So Michael Armstrong, have you taken the CompTIA certification exam from a Pearson VUE testing center? So if you've taken my practice test 3 times and failed, well, you're supposed to fail 1,000 times before you start finally getting there. If you're still short the 80%, what recommendations do you have? I would worry at this point, Michael, that you're starting to memorize my practice questions and you're going through them quickly and without good thought. I would recommend that you probably look for practice questions from one of my fine competitors. Believe it or not, yeah, buy my competitor's stuff. You get your brain hooked in to one set of practice questions, and then practice questions have a voice, just like Ernest Hemingway has a voice in the way he writes. And as much as we try to avoid it, we have a voice on our practice questions. Try to imitate the look and feel of CompTIA, but So when you lean on one set of practice questions, you often find yourself just listening to those questions. And you're like, oh, I know the answer to this, I know the answer to that, I know the answer to that. That's one thing. And then a second person, one of my competitors, is probably a good thing to do. That would be my first. David Carrillo, I don't know if anyone already asked you about the introduction to PowerShell. Yeah, Daniel, sorry. Yeah, Daniel, we're going to do PowerShell on Wednesday, but it's going to be, it actually is going to be more like an introduction. I don't want to do any code on Wednesday, or at least I want to do like really simple stuff. And I just want to make sure you guys are up and running. You got it right. You got it properly tweaked the way you want it. Yeah, we'll probably run a little code too. But understanding, you know, Windows scripting host and all the cool ways what PowerShell can connect to. So we will do that on Wednesday. We'll at least get a start. What time? It's 2:40. Oh, Scarlet Red, don't worry about computers that don't work. For us, that's part of the joy. I know it may sound frustrating to you, but it's actually kind of fun. You just need a Windows boot disk more than anything else. Altoids. Scarlet Red, I press the button on the back. I'm just teasing with you. Tried putting in a CD, nothing. It looks like, Scarlet Red, people are giving you good information. Just keep it up. Axe, I'm not sure that Scarlet even knows what safe mode is, and technically we don't really have safe mode anymore, right? Artigal. Hello from WDC. WDC. Western Digital Computing. Chris Cunningham, does taking a cybersecurity boot camp help you get a job? No. You take a boot camp to pass a certification. And as I've said many a time, a certification is never going to get you a job, ever, okay? The only thing certifications do is they put your name at the top of the stack. They get you past the human resource department. They show people in technical interviews that you're motivated and interested and you want to go that direction. But yeah, that's the other thing that makes me always nervous about boot camps is that they can be really stunningly expensive, Chris. And don't tell me how much you spent. I'll cry. Many thousands of dollars is the thing. So most of the time when you see boot camps, and Chris, maybe you noticed this. I don't know. With COVID, it could be different. A lot of times, boot camps are paid for by corporations for their employees because they want them to get some kind of cert or another quickly. So I tend to be not a huge fan of boot camps simply because of their cost. That's really the only thing. Yeah, there you go, Tolowit. You got her going in the right direction. I want to see her to get into the BIOS. So Scarlett, what Tolowit's been telling you, reboot the computer, and I'm not talking Control-Alt-Delete. Turn the computer off, turn the computer on again, and holding down the delete or the F1 or F2 key. It's delete or F2 these days. I want to see if you can get in your system set up. I'll bet a nickel you can, and you're going to find that somebody messed up the Windows after they sold it to you. Did you know, Scarlett, did you know you cannot buy copies of Windows secondhand? That the law says, well, not the law, the purchase agreement between us and Microsoft says that if you sell the computer, you wipe the system. I'm not going to say I haven't bought a couple of used copies of Windows from time to time. I have. But that's what the rule says. So Michael Armstrong, you have taken the, let me make sure I got this right. You have taken the CompTIA Security Plus 3 times? The actual, you got on Prometric or you got OnView and you paid the money 3 times to take it and you failed? Michael Armstrong, don't do anything until you talk to me. That's very, very rare to meet someone who's failed 3 times. Something's broken here, Michael, and I don't want you to spend any more money. Let's talk, okay? Michael, send me an email and let's have a conversation. Just put in there help or something like that. Yeah, let's stop spending money. You've spent enough money. Let's get you squared away. Kevin Lopez, Mike, were you scared of Y2K during the 90s? No, I was making money hand over fist. I loved Y2K. Not a D. Not a D. Hackers halted. Scott Jernigan, are you reading this? Hackers halted. I'm going to copy and paste this. They're giving away free certified ethical hacker vouchers. I'm all over that one. Yeah, not. I've never heard of this. Tell me about it. Scott says I missed. Oh, Washington, D.C. Sorry, WDC. All right. I did miss a question. Scott Jernigan's wagging his finger at me figuratively. Cyber Talon. Hi, Mike. Longtime lurker. Just passed Network Plus this morning. Congratulations. Big round of applause to you. Book, video, and practice questions and your AMAs. What else does a man need? I'm off to go jogging. Catch you in the replay sensei. Okay. Cool. Well, congratulations to you, Cyber Talon. And Michael, we're going to get you fixed. Michael Armstrong, I got my crosshairs on you. We're going to get you fixed, brother. David Zientera, I had your materials, and although I was not ready, I passed anyway. Yeah, it is, David, that's the beauty of multiple choice questions, man. It is, it works sometimes. Sometimes we're just lucky. Lock switch user sign and a spinning wheel? Lock switch user sign? Scarlett, are you sure you're not on an Apple computer? Seriously? Man, hey, Scarlett, do me a favor. Scarlett, send me an email. In fact, I want you to take a picture of this computer, okay? I want to know what the make and the model is, because the two symbols you're telling me I'm familiar with are from Macs. So if that's what I'm interpreting it to be. Scarlett, please, in fact, use your camera, take some pictures. Find the serial number on the back. I want to see what brand name's on the front. Don't type it in here. We'll take some time on Wednesday, or depending on how fast you are, maybe we could do some of that today. But I want to see what's going on here. And now you got me curious. Jamie Salas. Hey, Mike. Want to say I purchased CompTIA Security Plus, Suite of Tools. Great content. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. Boop-a-doo-doo-doo. The Xerxes 78, I got to wait for it. Yeah, well, do wait 14 days. In fact, Xerxes, I'd wait like 30 days if you could. You just need to pound questions, pound questions, pound questions. That's all you got to do. You're way too close. Trust me, you're going to pass the next time you take it. Michael Armstrong, David Gibson, and Diane Barrett exam cram. First of all, I know David Gibson. I'm acquainted with him. He's a fine author. He's got good products. I have nothing wrong with that. I don't know who Diane Barrett is. I'm a little nervous, even though I do an exam cram book called the Passport Series for A+ and Net Plus. I've always been less than happy with that type of thing. I feel that people don't, they're just reacting to words and memorizing tables of data, not really knowing what they're talking about. Mike Armstrong, you got you're sending me an email. Do it. Okay. Kevin Lopez, was Y2K something to do with port 123 NTP? No. Kevin, Y2K had to do with a whole bunch of 16-bit chips for the most part that were never designed to go past a date that started with a 2. So started with a 1. I am unaware of anything that was going on the internet Y2K wise. I'm sure there was, but that wasn't my thing. I was more dealing with SCADA type systems and old Texas Instrument chips from 1984 that were never designed to count past 1999. Traffic lights, things like that. We did find a lot of problems. And everybody always talks about Y2K and it was no big deal. I know it was no big deal because people like me got paid a lot of money to make darn good and sure it wasn't a big deal. Oh, thank you, Scott. You posted a link for Scarlett to be able to get her own bootable Windows disk. And I think she also got, Scarlett, it's hard for me to, texting so hard in these things, Scarlett, so bear with me. But I would love to see some photographs of whatever's showing up on your screen right now. Tolowit, does Windows key and X do it? Shoot, I don't even know what that is, Tolowit. What's Windows key X do? Hey, there's Somali again. Hi, Mike. Do you think the network automation will take our jobs as network engineers away? No. There's more computers than ever. I've been hearing the same thing for 30 years. Oh, automatically configuring IRQs and IO addresses. There won't be any text left. Oh, no, it never happened. The reality of the situation is our jobs move. I think the biggest problem people run into is, like, for example, if you think you're going to be an in-house IT support person these days, those jobs are few and far between, okay? You're either going to be working at, like, for Dell or somebody like that, or you're going to be working for one of these big companies that do support like Best Buy or Micro Center, Fry's, things like that. The challenge we run into is you can't have a 1999 attitude about where the jobs are. You want to be working in networking these days, Amazon will hire you today. They will. And I think they're borderline sweatshop based on what I've heard from other people, but you can't deny the experience that you get. No, it just changes the location of the computers, that's all. No, David, I know there is a way to get into safe mode. I look it up and then I forget about it over and over again. Well, I know I could definitely do it from a Windows pre-install if you give me a bootable disk. Elbow, she's not even getting to the point where she's got a Windows screen up, and you're telling her to hit Control-Shift-Escape? I don't think she's even getting to a desktop, amigo. Debbie Strauch, I saw a coding boot camp for $14,000. Yeah, that is, yeah. And Debbie, if you got the money, or if you're working for somebody who's got the money, I'm not saying they're bad, I'm just saying they're spending, that's all. Scarlet Red, don't get frustrated. We live for this kind of stuff. Are you kidding me? This stuff's great. Kevin Lopez, can you install Metasploit on a Raspberry Pi? According to my friend Dave Rush, you can install a full-blown Kali Linux on Raspberry Pi now. I have personally not done it. Dave Rush is on every Friday at 2 o'clock Central Daylight Time here in the U.S., and he's always doing stuff with Raspberry Pis. and he would be the person to address. I assure you, you can, but I've never done it. So I'm going to defer that one to Dave on Fridays. So if you're into Raspberry Pis at all, Friday at 2 o'clock Central Daylight Time, right here at Total Seminars channel, place to be. So I want to, people are always like, why are you talking about Raspberry Pis so much? Well, because Raspberry Pis are cheap computers that have lots and lots of functionality. I don't think you could pass an A+ with a Raspberry Pi, but I'll bet you a nickel you could pass Network Plus, or darn near almost all of Network Plus on a Raspberry Pi. You could certainly do it on for Security Plus, that and some virtual machines. So, you know, keep in mind, we're doing, Dave, I know Dave does a little bit of I/O, you know, making LEDs blink and things like that, but Dave also does a lot of classes on Fridays where things like setting up a DNS or things like that. So, and it's just because it's a cheap platform that people can easily afford. PowerShell is Wednesday. Well, at least it's now a Dell. Okay. Kevin Lopez, isn't there a work history requirement for CEH version 11? Yeah, but there's nothing to prevent you from taking the test. And you can take the test. Andrew Hutz, PowerShell is Wednesday. I'm going to be doing Hex here shortly. In fact, quite shortly. And we got some giveaways today too, guys. So, oh goodness sakes. Scott Jernigan, I'm going to blame Scott. Just for you guys just for all of you folks who don't know, just because you're kind enough to show up at today's AMA, we're offering at Total Seminars, www.totalsem.com, 50% off all of our A+ and Net+ Total Tester, that's our practice questions, and our Total Tester Sims bundles, and the Security Plus. So practice questions are all on half price. The code is Carpe Diem, CARPEDIEM. Scott, can you type that out one more time so folks... Yes, Elbow, I've used Control-Alt-Delete a couple of times. Axe, set up a Google Hangout with Mike. No. I won't do it, Axe. I'm not going to do, I'm not giving away free troubleshooting. I'm going to give people hints so they can have ideas of what they need to do. But no. Scott Jernigan, you typed in the word Daryl Gibson. I'm not sure why. I know Daryl, good guy. Scarlet Red, they replaced part because it's refurbished. Scarlet, the fact that it's a Dell has a lot of sort of proprietary connections in it. Interesting. Yeah, don't here okay, there it is. Dell 9010. Let me look up a Dell 9010 real quick. It's an Optiplex. Oh. Certainly played with these a few times. Scarlett, they're a good box. Well, at least I know it's not a Mac now. Scarlett, you had me going there for a minute, kid. Somebody get Scarlett a bootable Windows disk, man. That's what she needs more than anything else. And Scarlett, the other thing you probably need to do is you need to go over to Dell. Service tag. All Dells have a service tag. You're going to have to look around on there somewhere and find the service tag. I know you said there's refurbished parts. Trust me, the motherboard's still going to be the Dell motherboard. That's probably 90% of this battle right there. I would not only have that Windows 10 ready to go, but I would also have go using the service tag number, go to Dell.com, go to support, type in the service tag. It's a physical tag. It's on that case somewhere, usually around the bottom. And you want to get all the latest drivers and everything. So you take this thumb drive, and in fact, if it's going to be a separate thumb drive from the Windows thumb drive, that's even better. Plug that thing in and just download all those drivers. So that means, so Scarlett, you have to have another computer. Sorry, yeah, because you're not going to be able to do this with the Dell because it ain't working. But then once you have, you run the Windows 10 install, then you have all the drivers ready, and you make it nice and clean and start from the beginning. The other thing I didn't catch, Scarlett, is did you actually ever get to your system setup? I'm worried that Scarlett doesn't know what that is. Here, Scarlett, at any point do you see a screen that looks anything like this? And that's where you press the, it's a Dell, so you press delete, you press the delete key, and it pops you into this whole other screen. It's not Windows, it's your system setup. You definitely want to check that out too. But you're going to send me some pictures, right, Scarlett, so we can look at it together. Daniel Creo, Mr. Meyers, what do I need to check in a laptop running Windows XP to check Wi-Fi connectivity? Wow. Daniel, dude, pretty rusty on XP. In the lower right-hand corner in the system tray in Windows, even in XP, there was a wireless connection option there, and you could click on that and to see if you could see the SSIDs of the wireless networks. You knew you're in good shape. Two problems that you got to watch out for. Since it's a laptop, I'd be very nervous. Make sure you're not in airplane mode. Windows XP had airplane mode. Make sure that a lot of laptops, especially back in the day, had a switch that could physically turn off the wireless NIC in your laptop. And again, the way to check it, and I'm assuming you have a Windows XP system that boots up normally. You can get to a desktop. In that lower right-hand corner, it looks like a little radar. Was it that way in XP? I'm pretty sure it was. And if you double-click on that, if you can see all the wireless networks in your network, then you know that you're probably in good shape. Cole Lambreth, Mike, thank you for helping me pass the 1001. Big round of applause to you. Well done. And you're already working. Good for you. Another big round of applause to you, Cole Landreth. Well done, sir. Any tips going into 1002? No, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Whatever process you use in 1001, which I'm assuming includes my stuff, keep it up. You'll be doing fine. Oh, God, Elbow, there's so many things I don't know about. Daniel Carrillo still can't get any web page. Man, I'm going to have to teach you guys how to ask questions. So, Daniel Carrillo, can you open up a web browser on your Windows XP system? Daniel Carrillo, can you open up a command prompt and try to ping www.ibm.com? When you run ipconfig, does it show that you have a proper IP address? Come on, guys. This is standard diagnostics 101. Daniel Carrillo, get to a command prompt, type ipconfig, make sure you have a good IP address. Everybody knows what their their network is. Here at Mike Meyers' house, it's 172.13.12. And I open up any computer in my network, wired or wireless, and I don't see 172.13.12. something, I know I got a problem. So let's get that one answered. Dude, you're getting a Dell. Scarlett, stop goofing with this machine and pressing the buttons. Scarlett, get a bootable copy of Windows 10. Scott Jernigan gave you a link. You need to get a thumb drive. You need to get to a computer that's connected to the internet, and you need to set it up. I think it's called Media Creation Tool or something like that, which will make it bootable. Stop pressing buttons. We're past that. You need Windows 10 now. Andrew Hutt's got his pie. Good for you, man. Sierra SPB, how do you get into cybersecurity with just Security Plus certificate? Sierra SPB, we have an entire episode where I brought in my friend Jessica Dickerson to talk about how do you get entry-level IT security jobs. You need to search on the Total Seminars channel, locate that episode, and watch it, because literally every answer you needed was right there, man. E. White, Mike, is the NBT stat command actually used for anything nowadays? I personally have never used it. Yeah, I'll use NBT stat mainly if I've got like a bunch of Windows systems and I don't see them, even though I know I have proper shares up and running. NBT stat can be handy for diagnosing those kinds of issues, but that's about it anymore. It's not nearly as common as it used to be. NetStat is usually the one I'm going to go to more often than not. Or even better than that, I'm going to use a wonderful freeware tool called TCP View to diagnose individual connections. But if you've got a problem like with a print share or something like that, the NBT stat can be handy. NBT stat will often see things that are not showing up in your like printers folder or your network folder, and that's about the only thing I would use it for as a query. Yeah, and Scarlet Red, the fact that you're in a startup loop confirms to me that you've got some Windows is trying to load and it's having troubles. The Xerxes 78, what are my thoughts on cybersecurity jobs? Is that what you want to do? My thought is, number one, get a job. Do what you have passion for. You want to be a system builder? Be a system builder. You want to do administration for Microsoft Networks? Do that. The challenge that I run into is talking about security for computers is kind of like talking about electricity for computers. It's everywhere and permeates every aspect of it. You know, everybody wants to be a security expert, but what we really need and what will get you more work, in my opinion, is to be a good Cisco person with good security understanding. Be a good Microsoft person with security understanding. Be a good certified wireless network professional with good security understanding. That's where it's at. in my opinion. Everybody's a security expert, just like everybody to some extent is an electricity expert, because computers need it everywhere. Cole Landreth, Senpai, notice me. I notice you, Cole. Peter Hunt just snuck in. Excellent. Scarlet Red, I had it all set up when I first got it. Scarlet, it's okay. It's okay. I know I can feel your frustration a little bit, and it's okay. Get a bootable Windows. Ooh. Tolowit is typing in Russian. Now we're getting to something, Scarlet. Loaded all my settings. I don't know what it means to load settings. Were you configuring this? I don't know what that word, loaded all my settings. Don't know what that means. When I uninstalled the program, now it's stuck. Somali, be nice. IT crowd. Yeah, Scarlet. Oh, Scarlet, you can fix it. You really can. Don't worry about it. It was an antivirus system. Oh, boy. All right, now we're starting to get to things. All right, so Scarlet, number one, if it's a new system, that means you had, is there anything on the computer that's precious, right? You said you have pictures. You had to copy the pictures from something to put it on this new machine. I'm assuming those pictures are still on, let me guess, a phone or something like that. You need to put a shotgun to it and put a new copy of Windows on it. No, guys, Windows is trying to, it keeps rebooting. Scarlet needs a bootable Windows disk. I'm moving on from that topic. Scarlet, get a disk and we can talk about it again. Yvonne Tottenham. Hi, Mike. First time you're here. Does the Total Sims tester products expire? I don't know. I know in the giveaways, we give away, so they only run for like 90 days or something like that. I honestly don't know. 1-year licenses. They work for a year. Oh, thank you, Scott. You're way on top of that. Oh, Greg A., I'm not. It's always a challenge. I can feel Scarlett's frustration, because Scarlett, I've been there so many times, especially on a system you just got. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, I'm going to do something, and you think you're doing good, and ends up being bad. Like probably installing this anti-malware probably is what caused you some issues here. And you get all, and you know, it's okay. You just kind of get zen-like about it. You know, it's okay. Just going to reinstall Windows, try again. Life's good. Seriously. Noah Salorden, what is in the background? Hats, mirrors, all my books, some drums, some paintings from my daughter. I now just realized somebody bumped the camera and I'm way off to one side. Sorry about that, kids. Cole Landreth, throw on a cowboy hat. You know, the funny part is most of my really good hats are at the office, which I haven't been to in 6 months, including my good cowboy hats. I have no good cowboy hats here. That hat up there, if you can see it, it's too small. All right, I'll tell you what, guys. It's 3:15, and we do have, I want to talk about Hex, and we're going to have a couple of giveaways. Today, I'm going to be giving away 90-day access to our Total Tester product. You can, if you win, you get to choose between A+, Net+, and Security+.
and we give you 90-day access for free. But you have to win. So here's a couple of rules on the competitions we have here. Number one, these competitions aren't fair. Okay? So don't be crabby. Just realize that there's only 65 of us in here. So it's not, you got pretty good odds anyway. Number two, usually I'll just ask a question, and whoever types the answer in first in chat wins. And it's, guys, these chats show up differently. Your chat order will look a little different than mine, so it's my chat order that wins, okay? And what's the third thing? Have fun, all right? So you guys ready for a competition? Let's do this. I see there's more questions. Trust me, guys, I will get to them. But let us begin with some competition. But first, we're going to talk about hexadecimal. All right, so, wait, you know what? Let me go back for it. Before I start doing this PowerPoint, I want you guys to understand what hexadecimal is. Hexadecimal is a base 16 numbering system, okay? And when you and I count, we can count to 10 very easily, and the reason we can is because of evolution, or whatever you believe in, we all have 10 fingers, right? Now, if we had been evolved with 16 fingers instead of 10 fingers, we'd be talking in hexadecimal and not even thinking about it. It'd be easy second nature, right? Ever thought about that? What if we only were born with 2 fingers? We would say 1, 2, 10, right? Okay, so anyway, the reason we talk about hexadecimal is because in the computing world, we have tons of situations where we're talking about long binary strings. That IP address, IPv6 addresses, MAC addresses, memory addresses, God, there's so many, I don't even know where to start in terms of where they all are big binary strings. So, like for example, an IPv6 address is a binary string, and if I were to tell you my IP address, my IPv6 address in binary, which is what it really is, I would say something to you like, oh, my IPv6 address is 100.100.101.000.000.000.000. And as human beings, we're just terrible with binary. It's just terrible. We're not good at it. So we use hexadecimal to represent binary strings. And all we do is we take 4 binary values, like 0001, that's one example, and we replace it with a single hexadecimal character, all right? So hexadecimal, it might be an entire mathematics system, but as a computer person, the only thing we care about hex is it's a shorthand that's a little bit easier than sitting here and saying to people 0010100010. You get the idea? It's just it's a shorthand. That's it. It's nothing else. So let's go ahead and get back into this a little bit. Now, wait a minute, one more thing. If we're talking about big, long binary strings, let's talk about what are some of the widths of binary stuff we talk about. You guys heard of 8-bit computing? You've heard of 32-bit? You guys heard of 64-bit? Back in my day, we had weird things like 20-bit. They used a computer called the 286. So we want to make a shorthand that takes a certain number of ones and zeros and turns it into a single character, okay? So if we have 32-bit and 64-bit and 20-bit and 8-bit computing, what's the lowest common denominator that all those numbers have? And the answer is 4. 4, okay? So what we're going to do, because that's the lowest common denominator, I'm going to use 4 binary bits as the core to all this, okay? One more time. The only thing hexadecimal is, folks, is a shorthand that makes it a little bit easier than writing out tons of ones and zeros. Are we okay with that? All right, let's get back to the PowerPoint. All right, so I'm going to arbitrarily choose 4 ones and zeros. Now, what are all the different patterns that 4 ones and zeros can be? Well, it could be 4 zeros, right? It could be 001. It could be 0010. It could be 0011. Don't worry, guys. There aren't that many. I wouldn't be counting them out individually, right? Okay. So we got 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. I've run out of space, so I'm just going to start another column, but it's all the same. Just keep going through. These are all the different permutations that you can have with 4 binary digits. Okay, so let's count them. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And that, my friends, is why we use hexadecimal, because somebody back in the late 1950s decided that using 4 binary digits and replacing that with 1 character, and I'm going to show you what those characters are in a second, would be the best way to do this. Maybe somebody, if they'd have done this earlier, maybe they'd have done it with 2 digits and we'd have been using something different. Okay? But the bottom line is, hexadecimal takes 4 binary digits and replaces it with 1 character. Got it? All right. So let's do this. So the question is what character do we replace them with? All right, so here's 4 zeros. So let's try, I don't know, what are we going to call 4 zeros? Let's call it 0. Fair? Okay, 0, 0, 1, we'll call that 1. 0, 0, 1, 0, we'll call that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. We can't use 10. Look, if we're going to take 4 binary digits and replace it with 1 character, 1 0 is 2 characters. This isn't going to work. So the base 10 numbering system isn't sufficient. We have to use something other than 0 through 9 as this numbering system for our little shorthand, okay? So what do we use? I don't know. How about A? Got it? We could have used a star. We could have used a smiley face. It doesn't matter, okay? But we chose to use alphas for the last six digits. Yeah. So let's go ahead and do that. So A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay? So what I can do with this little table is I can convert any string of binary digits that are divisible by 4 at least, which is pretty much all of them, into hexadecimal characters. So let's do that. So I'm going to leave this table over here to the right a little bit so you can actually see these characters. I want you guys to play along with this as we go. What we're going to be doing is we're going to take long binary strings and we're going to convert them into hex, okay? Once we've done this a couple of times, then I'm going to go into some real world examples where we talk about hex like all the time. So bear with me. So here we go. Let's use, here's a value, okay? It's an arbitrary value. I don't even remember, how many digits is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so it's 32 bits, 32 ones and zeros. And what I need us to do right now, guys, you ready? Is let's convert that into hex. So I'm going to help you guys out on this first one. Look, all you got to do is look to the right and break them up in 4s, and you can do this, okay? But I'll help you out. So here, I'll draw some lines in there to help you guys out. You guys ready? So let's do the first one. So we'll look over here. Here's 0, 0, 1, 1. You guys see it? 0, 0, 1, 1. 0, 0, 1, 1 is a 3. Got it? So we'll put a 3 there. What's the next one? 0, 1, 0, 1. Let's look over here. 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. 5. I didn't edit any of this. I hope I haven't made any mistakes. All right. Let's keep going. E, C, 4, 0, F, A. So what I've done is I've taken a binary string and I've converted it into hexadecimal. And here, we can make it a little bit prettier here. Let's get rid of the lines. And what we can do is, you see right here, a lot of times you'll see a little H at the very front. The reason you put an H in there is so that people know that you're talking about hexadecimal characters, okay? Because sometimes there can be situations where that could be confusing. All right, so we have now converted a 32-bit string into 8 hexadecimal characters. So what I want us to do this time is I want you guys to do this. I hope you got a pen and paper on you. Anybody got a pen and paper? Here we go. I want you guys to agree or disagree that I'm right here. I need you to take a moment. I need you to look at that screen. You look at the first 4 characters, 1, 0, 1, 1. Look over to the right, you'll see it's 1, 0, 1, 1. Then the next 4 zeros is 0. I'm going to leave it up on the screen here for a minute because I want you guys to just kind of move back and forth. Yeah, I probably should have put some blue lines in there, but I'm cruel. So just stare at that for a second. We're not in the competition yet, kids. We're getting there. We're getting real close, but we're not there yet. Okay. So we now know a few things about hexadecimal. So what I want to do is I'm going to show you a very A+ and Net Plus type of question. You guys ready? Here we go. So what I've done here is I ran ipconfig/all on my Windows system. And what I have here, do you guys see the physical address? Oopsie. Sorry, I was on the wrong screen. Let's try again. Here we go. All right, so what I've done here is I did an ipconfig/all on my computer, and that is my the MAC address. I'm assuming you guys know what a MAC address is. It's incredibly important, and it will be on the A+, Net Plus, and Security Plus. And people are like, well, what about it? Everything about it, okay? So, but remember, I don't want to teach MAC addresses right now. I want to teach hexadecimal. But now we have an example by typing ipconfig/all where we see hexadecimals being used. So here's a type of question that you might run into on A+ or Net Plus. You ready? So here is the MAC address in hexadecimal, right? How many bits is a MAC address? You guys ready? How many bits is a MAC address? There you go. All right, good for you guys. All right. Okay, first of all, Somali, you are the winner. You get Somali. You win 90-day access to either the A+, the Net Plus, or the Security Plus, whichever one you want. All you have to do is send an email to Kathy Yale at totalsem.com. Scott's going to put all that information there in the chat window for you. And just tell her which one you want, Somali, and you've got it. And enjoy. Congratulations. We're not done yet, kids. So for those of you who are not quite sure how Somali pulled that off so fast, let's take a look. So first of all, that's the MAC address right there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the MAC is 12 hex characters. 1 hex character equals 4 binary characters. Remember, we just did that. So the MAC address is 4 times 12, or 48 bits. That is really, really close to a question that you will run into on the A+. And something similar to that would be on the Net Plus. That was fun. Let's do it again. You guys ready? All right, we're going to do it again, and this is another competition. Here we go. You guys ready? Oh, goodness. We have somebody called B Rush, and I thought that was Dave Rush. Okay. All right, let's do it again. Except this time, we're not going to use the MAC address. We're going to use something different. Whoever types the answer in first wins. This time we're going to be talking about an IPv6 address. So this is the actual IPv6 address from my system. How many bits is an IPv6 address? Oh, we already got a winner. Okay. Anyway, so that's the IPv6 address. Now you got to be careful here, guys, because if you look at this really carefully, you can see one of these things only has 3 digits in it. There's actually a 0 there. I don't want to get into an IPv6 class right now, but there's each one of those groups between the colons is 4 characters. So how many bits is an IPv6 address? IPv6 is 32 hexadecimal characters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 28, 28, 29, 30, 32. I was counting faster than my mouse was moving. Okay. 1 hex character equals 4 binary characters. Therefore, an IPv6 address is 4 times 32 or 128 bits. Who won? Ooh, look at all these 128s. Okay, the winner this time was Nice Try, No Cigar. Nice Try, No Cigar, congratulations. You got it on spec, because I didn't even ask the question yet. But, you know, like I said, these competitions aren't fair. So you win. Nice Try, No Cigar, congratulations. You win your choice of either the A+, Net Plus, or the Security Plus. You get a 90 days on those. And all you have to do is send an email to kathyy@total7.com. Tell them you're the winner. And you get to choose between A+, Net Plus, or Security Plus. And by the way, yeah, congrats. So that's hexadecimal is all over the place on our computers. Now, in these 2 examples, I showed you networky stuff, right? But it's a lot more than that. So let's take a look. So this is Device Manager on my computer. So let's take a look at the display adapters. My little 2070 here. And like, for example, here under Resources, do you see these? What you're looking at here is the actual chunks of memory that are set aside for the video card itself. And these are I/O ranges where we basically can talk to the card. This is where we put information in the card, and the I/O ranges is where we can send the card actual commands. Now, these things used to be a lot more, well, they're still absolutely critical, but they're now highly automated. So what I want us to do, and I'm hoping you guys with better resolution can actually see it, because I want to go back in Device Manager real quick, and I want you to tell me how long these hexadecimal strings are and how many binary digits are associated with it. So I know a lot of you guys aren't going to be reading this, and this is not competition. There's no competition here. So if we read these, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it goes from this 16, and then it goes to another 16. So this is a range of addresses. This isn't a single address. I have 16 hexadecimal digits. How many is that in binary? This is not a competition this time. I just want somebody to tell me. 16 hexadecimal characters is how many bits? Come on, kids. 16 times 4. Is my machine not? Sometimes mine pauses a little bit. All right, I'm going to gamble that somebody's already typed in 64. And that makes sense. This is memory locations, folks. Most of all the CPUs we use today are 64-bit computers. So their memory is going to address 64-bit chunks. That's it. There's about 50 other places I can show you where hexadecimal is. So the question people are like, well, what do I have to know about hexadecimal? You have to recognize hexadecimal, and the big thing you need to be able to do more than anything else is be able to look at a string of hexadecimal values and know how many bits it is in binary. They're going to ask you questions like, how long is a MAC address? You need to know it's 48 bits. Run ipconfig/all. Look at it. It's right there. There's 12 characters. 12 times 4 is 48. That's the big thing about it. I think I saw somebody text in earlier. It's like, well, do we have to memorize all these? I don't think you do. I would. It's not that hard. You know, you type in all the different combinations. Can you type in 4 zeros? What's the next thing after 4 zeros? 0001. Okay, what's the next thing after that? 0010. I'm just counting in binary. Don't make this rocket surgery, okay? And, you know, just be comfortable doing that kind of stuff conceptually. Now, another thing I saw is that somebody was going, wait a minute, Mike, like my IPv4 address uses like 192.168. That is a completely different numbering system. And I would like to have met the idiot back in 1981 or 76 or whenever they were inventing IPv4, and they decided instead of using hexadecimal, we'll use this stupid dotted decimal notation. We could have used hex. We could have used hex very easily. It's 32 bits. So we could have used 8 hexadecimal characters to represent IPv4 addresses, but some hippie in Berkeley in the 60s said, no, let's invent something totally different so we can confuse people for the next 50 years. So don't confuse dotted decimal notation with hexadecimal. There are 2 different ways to represent binary values. As a matter of fact, if you really want to, you can actually enter IPv4 notation into a Windows system for sure from the command line using hexadecimal. That and $1.50 will get you half a cup of coffee, right? So don't confuse IPv4 with hexadecimal. Don't confuse dotted decimal notation, which is used, as far as I know, exclusively in IPv4 with hexadecimal, which is used all over the place. 2 different animals. Okay, man, what do you guys all want? Yeah, I cannot give away exam vouchers. I don't, I have to, we sell discount vouchers here at Total Seminars. We sell discount vouchers at www.totalsem.com. It's about 10% off, but that's all we got for you guys. We can't get them anyway, so we don't do the free vouchers thing. We can't. Sorry. Kevin Lopez. Will be using IPv6 exclusively one day? Yes. Probably in your lifetime. Maybe not mine, but in yours. IPv6 is 1 billion times better than IPv4. Choco Taco, how many bits is an IP address? Choco Taco, we don't say the word IP address. Are you talking IPv4 or IPv6? An IPv4 address is 32 bits, an IPv6 address is 128 bits. I'm scrolling, looking for them. Cole Landreth, Mike, how much does it cost to move to Texas and learn from you as a personal trainer? $1 billion. Just looking. See, Cole, your eyes got blurred from the 0101s, right? It's part of the reason we use hex, because as human beings, we stink at really long strings of ones and zeros. It's just a way. Oh, yeah, Scott Jernigan did bring up an interesting point. God, it's been a while since I've done this. Here, so you can use There we go. So you can use the Windows calculator, and you have to set it to programmer mode. And then you can type in a value like 1100. Oh. Let's try that again. Here we go. So I'll go to binary, and now I see when I hit binary, only the ones and zeros are even lit up. 1011, and you can see that it'll give me the hex value, the regular decimal value. This is an octal value. It's base 8. I don't want to get into it. And there's the binary value. So you can use the calculator to do quick and dirties like that. Coolio. Hex is just, if I ran into a person, a tech, and they saw hexadecimal values and they were unable to even say how many binary bits it was, that would terrify me. That would be bad. If I ran into a tech who was unable to easily and quickly convert from hex to binary, I wouldn't worry about that. Like me, I don't have this stuff memorized. I have to sit there and draw the ones and zeros and the A, B, C, and D's and all that stuff. I draw that table out 1,000 times. I'm just scrolling looking for questions, guys. I'm scrolling up. Subnetting is the bane of my existence. I have some very good videos right here to help you with subnetting. Matthew Surf, how important is being social in IT? Depends what you're doing. If you're dealing with muggles, then it's really important. If you're a bench tech by yourself, it's just you and your power tester and your screwdrivers, not so much. All right, wrong screen. Yes, Scott, I caught that I was on the wrong screen there earlier. I think I got her fixed. Did I miss anybody's questions at this point? B Rush, Dave Rush, did you answer B Rush's question about was it dumb to buy Security Plus? You always buy the old test banks. When a new test is coming out, you always buy the old one. The only trick is if a new test is coming out, you better get on the stick and get past and with the old one. When a new test comes out, particularly with CompTIA, nobody knows what's on the test. I mean, I get the same objective list you guys do. I just get it sooner. And so nobody cares what version you took. Nobody cares. Oh, did you take the Security Plus 501 or the 6? No, you'll never be asked that question, ever. Did you pass? That's all they want to know. All right. Okay, guys, it looks like questions have stopped completely. Is that? I'm going to close the chat window and try reopening it. I have a real problem with my system that the chat window will just stop working for a while, and then all of a sudden I get gallons. Yep, that's exactly what happened. We've got lots more questions. Artigal, any subnetting pointers for IPv6? Sure. First of all, you won't run into any subnetting questions on IPv6 because the beautiful part about IPv6, well here, let me get on my soapbox. Let's go back to IPv4 for a minute. Do you guys know why there's only 3 dots in an IPv4 address? Does anybody know? The reason is because when they were inventing all this stuff, they're like, well, you know, there could be up to 10,000 computers one day. So they wanted to make sure that you were never more than 3 hops away from the top of the internet, ergo 3 dots. Yeah, they screwed up. They'd never visualized that we'd be segmenting our networks with such fine granularity. They figured 3 dots would have been plenty. In fact, that's part of the reason they used dotted decimal. They couldn't imagine. Guys, it's a 32-bit binary address. We could have put 1 dot in the middle. We could have put 3 dots in the middle. We could have put 7 dots in the middle, right? Think about that for a minute. Keep thinking about it. You'd have 4 binary values, then a dot, then another 4 binary. If we had more dots, subnetting would be easy because nobody listening to me has a problem subnetting when it's on the dots. If I give you a 10.12 network, it's really easy for you to turn that 10.12 into a 10.1, 10.12.1, 10.12.2, 10.12.3, right? That's easy. Anybody can do that. What gets people all confused in subnetting is when you have to stop looking at the dots. You have to stop being a victim of the dots and recognize that the dots are a construct. It was like if I came up to you and said, my phone number is area code 281, and I open parentheses, 281, close parentheses, 555-1212. And then all of a sudden, are you looking on your telephone for an open parentheses to call me? Are you looking for a dash? The reason they put that stuff in your phone numbers, folks, is because these telephones have to deal with these horrific things called human beings that are terrible at keeping strings of numbers in their head. Heaven forbid we did it in binary, then you'd all be lost, right? Can you imagine hexadecimal dialers? Wow. So the whole problem we run into with subnetting, more than anything else, is that people look at subnetting in the dotted decimal notation, in the shortcut version, not realizing what you're doing is you're chopping up binary values. If you watch any of my videos, the first thing I do is stop, just get rid of the dotted decimal and take it down to binary. Take it down to binary. Then all of a sudden you can put your dots anywhere you want. Think about that for a minute. If you're not a victim of those 3 dots anymore, if you just start with 32 binary values, you can put your subnet mask anywhere you want, and life is good. That's partially a sales pitch for the Mike Meyers Network Plus product, and also it's a bit of a pitch if you want to dig through any of we do have some subnetting videos here in the Total Seminars channel, which you are welcome to dig up and watch at your convenience. Don't be a victim of the dots. Debbie Stouch, what are muggles? Muggles are people who ain't us, Deb. Morning Saint, would DNA also be hexadecimal because there are 4 nucleotides? Wow. It's kind of a cool question. You could, G-A-C-T, I'm a little rusty on my, yeah. Why wouldn't that work? Oh, it wouldn't work. You have 4 nucleotides. We're talking binary, you only have 2 values, 0, 1. With nucleotides, you have 4 different values. We're talking about 4 wide, not 4 choices in each one of those 4 spots. So, nope, we couldn't use hex for that. That made my brain hurt a little bit. E. White, I'm the classic antisocial IT guy. It's all good, E. White. We understand. I understand. Kevin Lopez, do you know what is the percentage of companies still using Windows 7 or 8? No, but you can look it up pretty easily. That's something they track pretty closely. There's a number of sources out there, you know, especially because pretty much all computers since Windows 7 phone home so much. you can easily get that stuff. So actually, let me get back to Artigal's original question. Any subnetting pointers for IPv6? Because IPv6 has so many more, well, it's not dots, it's colons. Subnetting becomes much more trivial. In fact, you would rarely find yourself in a situation, certainly on a home network, where you would ever subnet. Like ever. It's an ISP thing. Elbow, Mike, when building a PC, question mark, would you ever go through the work to put in the GPU outside the case to test? No, I'd plug it in. So when I'm building a PC, I mean, I'm talking from all the pieces. I'm going to start with my case. I'm going to take the motherboard. Before I mount the motherboard, I'm going to put CPU and RAM in the motherboard. I'm probably going to put a power supply onto it and just see if the thing boots. I have a what do you call it? Oh, come on. I carry a rabbit's foot because I am a, good Lord, I'm a wordsmith. Scott, help me. What do we call that? Superstition. Gee, my knees, Mike. Good thing I'm cute. So for me, if I screw a motherboard into a case without booting it up first, it doesn't work. It just happens. I don't know why. So I've learned the hard way. I'll actually take the anti-static bag that comes with the motherboard. I'll throw the motherboard box, then the anti-static bag, then the motherboard down. I got the power supply, flap it in the breeze. I don't even bother with a video card. I just want to see it boot up. And when I say see, I mean hear it boot up. You know, if I get a beep coming off of it, see a couple lights light up, I'm like, okay, we're probably fine. So that's going to be step one. So once that's done, then I'm going to mount the motherboard to the case. At this time, I'll probably throw in my M.2 drive. And if I have a graphics, I was going to say I never buy a motherboard that has onboard graphics, but that's not true. I buy motherboards that both have onboard graphics and don't. If it has onboard graphics and I'm not going to use it, I'll still try it once just to make sure it works. I got a monitor laying around. I plug in HDMI. Case is still open, okay? I've got the power supply screwed in by now. And then I'm just going to give it fire it up, see if it boots. Actually, if I can get up to a, no system disk, that's good because I probably haven't installed Windows yet. I'll probably at that point go into my system setup, just poke around, see if there's anything interesting I might want to be jacking with in there. Once that, and when I go into the system, I'm going to do the usual stuff. Make sure virtualization's turned on, little things like that people always forget until they start trying to run VirtualBox, stuff like that. Once that's all up and cooking, then I'm going to go ahead and start bolting down my I/O. I've probably done a little cable management at that point because I've bolted the motherboard down, usually power. If I've got extra drives, I'm going to go ahead and bolt those in at this point, getting all the USB up and running, making sure all that's pretty. And even then, I'll probably do the initial Windows install without even putting the cover on the case because I'm just paranoid. Once I get a Windows complete, up and cooking, I'm stable, I'm on the internet, then I'll actually screw it all down. Generally, that's how I do it. Yes, thank you, Patricia. Superstitious. Morning saint. I don't know. My head is. You guys should pick a higher caliber of producer of training materials than me to hang out with. That's all I got to say. Most of my cases never get closed. Oh, yeah. What? You want to look at the pretty lights and you get a case with, clear plastic on it. We're ending the stream on a philosophic. Oh, good Lord, it's almost 4 o'clock. All right, guys, well, it looks like things are slowing down, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Wednesday is going to be PowerShell, just Power. We're going to talk about shells and then go into PowerShell because I worry that sometimes people get a little confused on that. So we'll do some PowerShell. I don't want to spend the entire 2 hours on PowerShell, which we can easily do, because what I'd rather do is get a good start on it and get some scripts, show you guys some good scripting sources, and have you guys pull down scripts and try stuff out. And we'll probably do some fun stuff like creating a bunch of users in PowerShell, things that where it really PowerShell shows its beauty and power, maybe some registry editing. Maybe I need to set that up in a virtual machine, huh? But that's basically what we're going to be doing. Tolowit, my machine right here. Oh, it is glass. Never mind. Oh, you guys in the cat piss wine. I swear to God, I'm going to have a tasting and make you guys go out and buy some of that stuff so you can quit teasing me about that. All right, well, congratulations to the winner. Certainly, I've asked a few of you to send me emails. I do hope that you'll send me. I want to help. And that's what I'm here for. So other than that, I guess I'm going to let y'all go. No more last-second questions? Wait. Here's a question. For an M.2 drive, can I boot from a PCIe slot adapter? Yes, I've seen those, but I'd rather you just get a proper motherboard with an M.2 connector. But I have seen PCIe adapters where you can plug M.2s into them. They sell them like crazy. So yeah, you can do that. Make sure if you do that, that you're not accidentally, you're probably going to have a SATA M.2 drive. Don't get an NVMe drive because it's almost certainly not going to work. A motherboard that doesn't have an M.2 connector is not going to support NVMe. No way. So if you're going to get the PCIe to M.2, make sure it's SATA capable. They all are. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. All right, guys, I'm going to let y'all go. Remember, Friday is Dave Rush. Dave Rush is going to be, what are we doing on Friday, Dave? Have you ever been told you would get the job because they felt you would get bored at the job with your skill set? Yes, I've received exactly that. So Dave is asking a question mark. Still working on a topic. Okay, great. Whatever Dave's going to be talking about on Friday, I guarantee it's going to be good. And so be sure for that. Wednesday is PowerShell. Send in your cards and letters, guys. And until that, this is your Uncle Mikey. And I'm just going to say good night. Good night.